In my video today, I'm going to talk about why I can confidently say that aluminum is the cause of Alzheimer's disease. There are many causes of dementia, but only one cause of Alzheimer's. In order to do this, we need to take a look at the books that my husband has published. My husband's name is Dennis N. Krause. His first book is titled Preventing Alzheimer's, Autism, and Stroke.com. In this book, he looks at Bradford Hill's criteria of causation. There are 9 criteria. Let me give you 3 examples of the criteria. The first is strength of association between aluminum and AD. The research that supports this is research on drinking water that has aluminum in it. A lot of drinking water is treated with aluminum salts. The research has found that higher levels of aluminum in the drinking water, the greater your risk of AD. The second criteria is biological gradient. This is the dose-response effects of aluminum on the risk of AD. Once again, we take a look at the research in drinking water. And the more aluminum in drinking water, the greater your risk of AD. The third criteria is coherence of what we know about how aluminum causes AD. Research has found that aluminum causes brain atrophy, and brain atrophy is one of the biomarkers of Alzheimer's. Now I would like to take a look at my husband's 4th book, Finding a Cause and Potential Cures of Alzheimer's. In this book, he uses causal inference to prove that aluminum is the cause of Alzheimer's. Causal inference is a new advancement in the study of causality. In this book, my husband looked at all of the biomarkers which have been identified for Alzheimer's. There are 15 of them. Here is an example of a few of them: beta amyloid, tau, brain atrophy, and neprilysin. There we go. What he found was that all the biomarkers that have been identified for Alzheimer's are mediators for aluminum causing Alzheimer's. Let me say that again. He looked at all 15 biomarkers that have been identified for Alzheimer's, and what he found was that all the biomarkers are mediators for aluminum causing Alzheimer's. My husband always asks me to read his book and give him input as well as editing advice for his books. When I got the manuscript for this book, Finding a Cause and Potential Cures, I began to read it, and as usual, it's a bit of a challenge to read my husband's books because I'm not a chemist, as well as they are pretty complex scientifically, but also, too, the brain is very complex. I began reading it, and as I got further and further into it, I was totally blown away by the strength of the evidence of aluminum causing Alzheimer's. And what I mean by evidence is the research. Now also realize that I've been on this journey for 10 years when I read this manuscript. I'm very familiar with the research that shows that that aluminum is the cause of Alzheimer's. But I was like totally blown away. I couldn't believe the amount of evidence. I hope when you read the book that you will be as convinced as I am. Now, a lot of you may be asking right now, so if aluminum is the cause of Alzheimer's and that there is so much research supporting this, why isn't this known? Why isn't the Alzheimer's Association? Why isn't the medical field? Why isn't the pharmaceutical industry? Why aren't people talking about this? Why are they not talking about silica water being the solution, that silica water can remove the aluminum from your body, including your brain? Well, it's complex, but it's also simple. It's about money. If you look at the pharmaceutical industry, they have invested so much money in the beta amyloid hypothesis. They have been making drugs to remove beta amyloid for decades with no success. They can't abandon this. They have invested so much money, as well as silica water is not a pharmaceutical. They would not be able to make any money from the knowledge that silica water can remove the aluminum and therefore prevent Alzheimer's and also treat Alzheimer's. So now, why is the medical profession not talking about this? Well, once again, they work in partnership with the pharmaceutical industry, and I've just talked about why the pharmaceutical industry is not going to accept this research. Also, too, for physicians, they have to be very cautious about liability, that when they are prescribing pharmaceuticals, they have the backing of the pharmaceutical industry. If they were to start promoting silica water for treating Alzheimer's, that they would be more personally at risk and would have to utilize their own insurance. Now, the Alzheimer's Association, I've talked about them in my first video, that I get so frustrated that they need to update their website. But once again, I really feel that they are marketers for the pharmaceutical industry. Anyways, let me conclude with the last paragraph from Dennis's book, because it's incredibly powerful. However, though, not being a chemist, I need to give you a little bit of information about aluminum before I read his last paragraph. That aluminum is very sticky, and it sticks to enzymes which make our body work. Neprilysin is an enzyme in the brain which degrades beta amyloid. Aluminum inhibits the brain's ability to make neprilysin. Here is the concluding paragraph from his book, Finding a Cause and Potential Cures. Aluminum is a small and highly charged atom with a high affinity for oxygen in key enzymes and cofactors, making it a unique element on the periodic table. This uniqueness makes it such that without aluminum, there would be no Alzheimer's disease. Without aluminum, there would be no Alzheimer's disease. Therefore, the best prevention and cure for Alzheimer's is avoiding aluminum ingestion and drinking 3 to 4 cups of silica water. No, that's not what he said in the book. 3 to 4 cups of 48 parts per million of OSA every day. The best hope for preventing and curing AD is found in the resilience of the human spirit that translates into sustainable action, such as drinking OSA-rich mineral water or silicate daily. In the future, aluminum will not be added to our food and drinking water. Instead, OSA will be added to drinking water, resulting in no AD in the population. Couple of things. One is that silica is added to some drinking water because when silica is added to drinking water, it prevents the corrosion of pipes. The other thing is, too, is for people not familiar with silica water. Examples are Fiji and Volvic, and there are a lot more waters that have the 48 parts per million or more of OSA to remove aluminum. And also, too, Silicade is a recipe that my husband developed for drinking, it's the recipe that he developed for making silica water, making your own, and it is what we drink. Anyways, my next video is going to be on looking at sources of aluminum and how we can eliminate those sources.